Hello, good morning, Vietnam! It's been a long time, but finally, VCS English has returned. My name is Carix. With me are the illustrious brain bunch, Yulwei, Mabinogi, and Clockwork. It has been far too long, guys. How are you? Oh, sorry about that. I just double audioed. We'll start with Yulwei. How have you been?
Oh man, it's been such a long time. Yeah, I've been good. Unfortunately, since the last time we met, the weather outside has been deteriorating a lot. So it's cold here, you can see. But I'm so happy to see you all again.
Clockwork, how have you been?
Oh, quite great. I'm really hyped. That we can start again. And I don't know, it's been way too long. I don't know. I've been waiting so much. I'm electrified.
And last but not least, how are you, Marby?
Simply riding the high of EDG.
Of course, it's been a big time in League of Legends since we have been gone. Of course, we've been gone all summer, and finally, we have a split. It's a winter split, very, very strange, but of course we've had Worlds to watch. EDG took it down, but of course, 𝘀cie𝗱𝗋𝗆𝗺𝗍𝗍, how you doing? That was, real final was 𝗀𝗏1 versus T1 though. Regardless, it's so good to be back. Everyone in chat, I'm so happy to finally have something to show you. We are going to get straight into it because we do have a lot to talk about. The teams have changed a lot. And we are going to talk about them in depth, but if we want to sort of wet our whistle a little bit, Marby, what's one big change for a team that's really caught your eye?
Well, hopefully, this is sort of an old change, but we're finally, hopefully, please, God, let us see 𝘂ce. Come on.
We should be.
We should be seeing him. Beyond that, I'm enjoying SBTC just trying to rebuild 𝘀cie esports. It's a strategy, and I'm here for it.
Yulwei, what's one big thing that's caught your eye?
Negative or positively?
Either or. Go ahead.
And to be honest, I am concerned for Team Flash and our poor friend of VCS English, 𝘀cie. Now officially the captain of the team, but the rest of the team is a little bit of a question mark, to put it positively. So, yeah, not sure what Team Flash, I have to say.
And if you ever want to see the live train of thought of a pilot as he's nose down pointing at the ground, just go look at 𝘀cie in our Discord server. Because he's not looking great about that team, but I'm hoping they surprise us. And last, but certainly not least, Clockwork, what's one thing that has caught your eye in this off-season?
I have a positive one, which is SBTC. Like, after last season, that was a train wreck for them. I thought they were about to, leave the league or go for a very, low expectation roster. And instead, they picked up quite the roster. So I can't wait to see how they fare.
Yeah,
I want to add one very interesting thing looking generally at the rosters, especially coming from the SBTC and the Flash side for the last 2 points. We have a lot of the recycle old players approach, where we just shove the old players to other teams, but then also an awful lot of new rookies. So we're kind of trying to do the best of both worlds. A lot of new rookies, but also recycling the hopefully still good veterans. So those two rosters could totally go the other way as well. Who knows? SBTC, maybe Celebrity and Artifact are washed finally. But maybe, they look pretty good, I agree.
Hopefully not. I don't want to see washed players. I want to see them fight till the end, go out on a high. But it's been a long time. And speaking of being a long time, let's talk about an elephant in the room, or at least an elephant that's been in our Discord chats. The patch for VCS Winter is Worlds Patch. A patch that has not been live in solo queue for a month and a half. That's not exactly conducive to a high level of play. Yulwei, do you have any thoughts?
So I think I'm the of the four of us today, I think I see it the least critically. I think you all are very, very negative on this patch approach. I think it's okay to start with the patch. I would be really appalled if they stayed on the patch for the whole split, because that's way too long. But starting on a common ground for viewers coming over to maybe watch the VCS after having such a long hiatus and coming from the Worlds patch that is familiar to all the viewers, all the Vietnamese viewers, but all the international viewers as well. I don't think it's that big of a negative, because yeah, obviously it's not the greatest for solo queue practice and champion practice, but we are going to be on preseason patch in a week or two, so that's a huge change anyway. So I don't think actually changing from 19, 20, 21, 22, I don't even know what patch we're on right now on live.
22, I'm pretty sure.
22. So 3 more patches to the actual preseason patch. I think that's the biggest change. And if we don't go to preseason, that would be bad. But I think as long as we change in the middle of the split to the preseason patch, everything is all right with me.
It's interesting. I'm a little bit sus about going to preseason because we know that Riot, quite fairly, considering that preseason patch is meant to be very low stakes, they often do break the game a little bit.
It's fun.
It is fun, but perhaps not the most competitive. Marby, do you have any takes about the patch? And of course, keeping in mind, it's World's patch, but 𝗀𝗏𝗏 and Vex will be available.
Yeah, I think the big thing is because there was quite a significant couple of changes that came after the Worlds patch, you wouldn't want to stay on it for more than, like, honestly, 1 week. If we go off it from 1 week to 11/20 and then as we progress and then end and do playoffs on 11/22, that's fine, I suppose. But yeah, the fact that the split is so condensed means I don't have a lot of hope that they're going to do much in terms of changing the patch. And if it sticks on 11/19, it's just dreadful.
Clockwork, do you have any? Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, if I might say, there is one hopeful thing that usually in most games, when there's a patch that sticks around for a long time, teams have more chances to develop their own strategy. And as we have seen it during Worlds, the meta has been very solidly established. So maybe, like, my hope is that the VCS teams will start from this basis and then add on that their flair. And the more the split goes on, the more in-depth some strategies might go. This is my hope. Of course, probably will not happen, but I'm trying to look at it in a positive way. So I hope that they really become experts about this single patch.
I see in chat, we do have Lunar Day that's redeemed a cast question, a relic of our old channel points. Can we talk about Yuumi? No. There's your question answered. Moving on. I mean, in all seriousness, like,
Strong.
Enchanters, like, if you want breakdown on the Enchanter support rise, may I suggest watching Worlds?
How it relates to VCS, I mean, I think Palette's the obvious big Enchanter player.
Oh, no. Palette Yuumi.
Yeah, I don't really remember any other the big ones. B tends to be a very lane-heavy support, so I wouldn't be surprised if he picks them up. But
I think Slay can probably play them.
Slay's retired, I'm 90% sure.
Really? He's still listed on the team. But yeah.
I think he's fully gone.
I'm hyped to see
permanent
𝗀𝗏𝗏's mechanics on those champions. I mean, not on Yuumi specifically, but that would be a tragedy. Yeah, but in 𝗀𝗏𝗏 Nami, I think that could be fun to watch.
Yeah, and I'm sure Clockwork has been very happy seeing your favourite champion finally make her rise in professional play, or at least her rise from a long time ago. Let's move on, though. We've sort of started talking about it with that question, but let's expand on it a little bit more. Sort of the standout champions and compositions we expect to see. Some of it will be similar to Worlds, no doubt. But I want to talk specifically about how we think the Vietnamese teams... Can you tell I haven't been on camera in a while? The Vietnamese teams will put their own spin on things and add that Southeast Asian flair. Yulwei, I'm going to start with you. What are some champions and compositions you're really looking at?
Okay, I'm not talking about the two I hate, because we're going to see them, unfortunately, and I just don't want to spend time on those two so-called ADC champions. But I'm really interested in the jungle meta, because, I mean, VCS has always been a jungle-focused league. Our most famous players are all junglers, especially the internationally known players, 𝘂𝗧𝗏, 𝘂𝗏𝗏, and so on. So jungle definitely is a big one for me. Talon, Qiyana, think back to the days 2019 summer, where Gum swept everyone, and 𝘂𝗏𝗏 Qiyana was a huge deal. So I'm hyped for that. I want to see how 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Ego adapt to the jungle meta. Do we see some Zed jungle even? I think Zed is a huge deal in Vietnam as well. So all the assassin junglers, maybe even a little bit of a sprinkle of Lilia from Ego. He had an amazing Lilia if you think back to last year's summer, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the jungle is just the number one position for me to watch.
For sure. Clockwork, where do you have your eyes that's not the jungle?
So I want to just add one little thing to what Yulwei said, actually, because there's still Gold Drinker meta, which is the main thing for all junglers. And we might see something, some very niche pick, like, for example, Killer Queen's Cane. And that's a pick that makes a lot of sense to be picked. But also,
BJ too.
on top of that...
Froggy, you mean?
There's also Froggy, playing it, and in the mid lane also, for the same reason I've just explained, there's also Kati's set. So we might see some composition based around an unconventional mid laner that VCS mid laner have experience on. So I am confident that it won't be the same strategies that we've seen at Worlds, but there will be plenty of interesting stuff that only the VCS teams know how to play.
Yeah, for sure. And Marby, what's catching your eye? Remember, guys, you can always jump in. Doesn't have to be regimented.
I'm hoping we see a little bit of what sort of missed the train on Worlds, but was still pretty good on 11-19, but was only just sort of being discovered towards the end of the tournament. Things like the Predator, we saw a little bit of Showmaker playing Predator Syndra, but it's just good on everything. So we might see the return of Hecarim, we might see a bunch more Predator picks. Similarly, in the top lane, we might see things like Camille, things that really rose to prominence after the patch and have been big names in solo queue since, but were sort of ignored on the patch for various reasons at Worlds. So, because, I mean, that's what they get to practice in solo queue. They might not be able to practice the Graves Jace forever sort of thing. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm hoping to see, a little bit of variety, but otherwise, I think we're just going to see... Otherwise, it'll just be the same thing, but with a few more extra picks in the mid lane that you're looking to ban away.
Yeah, I actually want to piggyback on that point, because that's actually something you brought up, Carix. The two champions that are enabled are both mid laners, right? 𝗀𝗏𝗏 can go in different roles as well, but I think his best and most successful and highest play rate is always mid lane, or always has been mid lane.
It was top lane for a bit, but I think it's back to mid lane now.
Yeah, I guess maybe top flex could be something as well. But so we have 𝗀𝗏𝗏 and Vex, two new mid laners coming in. We know the mid lane pool in VCS is not amazing.
Good.
We have had great players like Carti just dominate with supportive picks. Froggy fits the same bill. So a lot of options in the mid lane are going to be... I think mid lane is going to be quite different than the Worlds meta just because of our player profile. We have so many more supportive mid laners compared to Showmaker, compared to Scout, to the best mid laners in the world. So we are really different as a region compared to the overall Worlds meta. So I think mid lane might actually deviate a lot from what we have seen the last month. So, and I'm hyped to see 𝗀𝗏𝗏. Not so much Vex. I think Vex is disgusting, but 𝗀𝗏𝗏 could be cool.
I mean, I think 𝗀𝗏𝗏's pretty gross as well. Can't wait to see some big revives. A mechanic that definitely should be in the game. But the thing to keep in mind is it's 11-19 Vex. I have to assume the hotfix will be in there. It would be insane if it wasn't. But she released turbo broken. You think Vex is broken on ladder now? No. 11-19, she was turbo broken. Analysts just didn't talk about it because she wasn't going to be turned on at Worlds.
1 second, I've got a...
Is your cat being a gremlin?
demon pushing my green screen over.
Oh, good. Deal with the cat. So I think Vex is going to be really high priority. It might end up just being Red Side only has 2 bans, because you just ban Vex every game, which would be a shame. I'd like to see her get played. It's always good to see some new stuff. But I do agree with your point, Yulwei, that, I mean, yeah, mid is not the standout role in Vietnam, particularly now that Dia1 is gone. He's banned, but he was also not a standout player last split. He was kind of our showmaker, and I'm putting that in air quotes on purpose.
Might I add, like, a few info on the Vex peak, since I've kept up with some tournaments here in Europe that were played on 11-19 pre-hotfix, and I have seen with my own eyes that Vex is a threat. Like, so I hope that those fixes went live, because in the release state, she was just basically Lee Sin from 4 screens away and AP burst, so it was not playable against. So, yeah, I have seen it happen. I don't want to see that in VCS because it will break the league.
The plus side is she had the hot fixes, but she hasn't been nerfed since. She's only had bug fix changes since then. So a lot of like her strength was a little bit of people getting used to her. And now that they have, with those if the hot fixes are in, she's just she'll be strong, have her place, but I don't think she'll be quite like an overbearing 100% red side ban sort of thing. Unless she ends up serving sort of a similar role as Twisted Fate, where you just get free priority. And that wins the game for you.
Well, we've talked about Vex a fair bit. I think we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. Let's talk about the other champion that's been enabled. Yulwei, you briefly mentioned that you're looking forward to it. Why are you looking forward to it? What do you think 𝗀𝗏𝗠 will really bring to a league of supportive mid laners?
That's a fair point. He's not really very supportive.
No, quite the opposite.
I do think the champion is... I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched him ever, but I feel like he's going to be interesting to watch, because he's a little bit like Lucian in the mid lane. It's a little easier to exploit him, because his escape is not quite as good, I'd say, even though it can be quite a long-range escape thingy as well. But yeah, the revise can be super hype in the late game for team fights, I think, for play-by-play, and just overall how it can swing the game. So I'm looking forward to him. Maybe he's going to... he could be a champion that's interesting to watch for 10 games, and then it gets stale. But I haven't seen him at all, so I'm just very, very interested to see what he can do.
So I've admittedly only seen him in the top lane, in NA Academy of all places. But the go there was Lolo would pick him and just completely remove the enemy top laner from the game. And like, he didn't scale particularly well, but he was such a dominant lane bully. He's been nerfed a little bit since then, but he'd be just such a dominant lane bully that, yeah, you'd remove the enemy top laner and you'd play a 4v5. So I expect it to be much the same. Go for that early lead, and if it doesn't work, well, you are still relevant in damage because you're an AD carry, but it's just hard to execute on.
Any thoughts,
Clockwork? Like, I can also see something like pick him as an AD mid laner when you have some jungler that can execute some AP champions, and we know some players like this in the VCS, like the very Levi, and that champion fits the bill of what GAM wants to play. So I can see some angle on 𝗀𝗏𝗠.
Yeah, I definitely think that is possible. But, fellas, it's time to get down to brass tacks. We have 8 teams in this league, and we've got to rank them, and we've got to talk about them. So we have our power rankings, which I will bring on up. I just need to have a screenshot. Give me one moment as we just pull up our screenshot. We can start by talking about the team that most of us have ranked in the number 1. And when I say most of us, I don't just mean the 4 of us. I mean our broadcast team.
We're ignoring 𝗬𝗠𝗠𝗏 because...
𝗬𝗠𝗠𝗏 is having a troll. 𝗬𝗠𝗠𝗏 is having a bit of a troll.
One.
Pardon?
I don't think I ranked them number 1.
You did not. But... No, you didn't. But the majority of us did, and we're going to go by the majority, and then you can tell us why we're wrong. Okay? Deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's bring this up. It's the power rankings. There we go. This is what our broadcast team thinks is the power ranking. Ignore 𝗬𝗠𝗏, having a troll. GAM is what most of us believe are number 1. So let's have a look at their roster. It's familiar. It's Kiaya, Levi, Carti, DivKid, who is new, and B. Tomrio is a jungle sub, and Style has moved to that substitute position.
There's also 2T, who is top mid flex, but we're thinking top more for because Kiaya's had some health things.
Yeah, he's had some health issues, so I think they're bringing in a sub sort of as a just in case. Now, because I'm not an analyst, but Clockwork, you are, and you have ranked GOOOOOODD first, I'm going to give you the honour of explaining why you have put the reigning champions as that first place.
Okay, so as we have seen during Worlds meta, the overwhelming majority of composition are based on top jungle, top side in general action in the early game, which is pretty much GAM's bread and butter. Most AD carries that have been picked were regarded as weak side. For example, like the Misfortune or the Aphelios, some safe champions that you can leave in the bot lane while you structure your plays around the Herald. Dragon is also in very low priority. So assuming that VCS continues on this trajectory, this is literally as if the developer team was GAM. Okay, that is their patch. There is no way that they don't find themselves comfortable, and they have all the right tools to play the meta at their peak.
I think it's a very popular opinion that GAM are the favourite for the split. As you can see, I also put them up there, but I think Clockwork did a very good job summing up why they are. I think it's more relevant to talk to our other two analysts on why they think other teams can take over. And I believe it is Marby that has this team. I had to check which one of you it was. You both have a different team ranked first,
yeah.
So I'm going to go to each of you in turn. Marby, you have picked the three-headed dog itself. You've picked Cerberus to come first. Sorry, just give me a sec.
Okay.
Which, of course, is Pun, Ego, Yardo, Artemis, and Ron OP. Unchanged from what they wanted to run last split. But, of course, Ego had pretty serious health issues. And, of course, Poss is now, we think, actually eligible to play. So, Marby, how are Cerberus going to upset the Titans of the Marines?
So, generally, I sort of come into it with... I did sort of pick this just for a bit of a spicy one, but... So I'm not 100% sold on it, but here's the reasoning. Cerberus almost always starts the split with a really good read, and that's... With the condensed format, they're not going to have the time to find that slump that happens. They have one of the best mid laners. They have... Hopefully they've got Poss, who should be able to contend for best top laner in the league. He's played in LPL. He should be more than capable. Ego, that's the biggest question mark, but assuming he can sort of get back to that form we know from his Flash days, you have a very strong top side, which I think in regular season can absolutely handle GOOOOOODD. And then if it comes into that sort of late game situation, if you've got Artemis on Aphelios, you've got the best AD carry by a long shot on Aphelios, who can sort of carry you over that edge, be that difference maker, to bring you up just up above.
May I quickly ask a qualifier? Are we power ranking for the end of regular season or for
end
the
of
end
regular
of the whole
season?
We
did clarify.
It's regular season.
We did clarify it's ladder at the end of the split, not playoffs. Because of course, if it's playoffs, Cerberus comes fourth.
Yes.
Yeah, if it's playoffs, bye.
Yeah, Cerberus can't win a playoff series. I'll believe it when I see it. No, we are talking about that.
EDG got past quarters. It's possible.
It's true. It is true. EDG broke the curse, so why not? I actually want to get both of you guys to weigh in on your thoughts on Cerberus. I want to use this as... While we're talking about Cerberus, obviously you guys don't necessarily think they're going to top the ladder. That's fine, but what are your thoughts on Cerberus? Yulwei, you have them coming third. Clockwork, you actually have them coming fourth. I'll start with you, Clockwork. What are your thoughts on the dogs?
So I haven't been impressed in their playoffs, of course, for last spring.
How could you be?
Yeah, but also I think that 𝘁𝗶𝗋𝗀𝗀 should for sure perform better than them. It's really, as Mabby said, a lot of their performance will rely on Ego's performance, and we have no guarantee that he can be back on his peak. I'm personally quite skeptic that he will be, because it's, except like literally 1 or 2 games that he played in spring, we haven't seen him play in 1 year. So he's as if he's coming out of retirement or something. I assumed he trained with the team, but he's not been on stage for that long. So
Yeah.
this is my main concern. There's also like this pause, mechanically for sure a great player, but he should introduce like some language additional obstacle that the team will need to face that no team has. So that could affect them as well.
However, you don't need to actually have a top laner to win games. You can just stick him on Graves, not have a top laner, and win worlds.
Your top laner just doesn't need to speak.
So, just a little bit of additional stats from Beast in chat. Beast has also been doing a lot of our stats. If you hear us quoting stats, we are probably cribbing off Beast, so a lot of thanks do go out to him. He has 2.5k solo queue games on the Korean server this season. That is a horrific amount of League of Legends.
That is
So
honestly
a lot
more
of free
concerning than promising.
either he's going to be sick again, because Ego in his first split, remember, he was incredible. He was competing with Levi. Or he's going to have played so much League of Legends that they'll lose one game and he'll kill someone. It's hard to know. But Yulwei, what are your thoughts?
And we send
Sorry,
another to jail.
Another one. One split. We have to have a crime every split. Yulwei, what are your thoughts on Cerberus? Where are your expectations for them?
I don't actually know. It's so hard to say.
You have them ranked third.
Yeah, more by virtue of the other 2 teams just being better and my liking them a little bit more. I think their team is very solid. I do agree that Pun and Poss, especially if he's as good as he's supposed to be, I don't think he's going to be as good as he's supposed to be, but I think he's going to be an upper echelon top laner, which is nice. My biggest question mark is mid jungle, because I think bot lane is very solid. We have seen Artemis so many times, especially in regular season, and he is the best ADC in the league, so bot lane should not be a concern. I think mid jungle is a pretty big concern, though, because Yado, yes, he's solid, yes, he's good in control mages, but he's not as flexible as 𝘁𝗏𝗏 and Froggy are, especially with the 2 new champions coming in, with more of the maybe lane handshaky kind of champions like Set coming back. Yone is always on the fringes, especially with Froggy. So I think Yado's champion pool could be an issue. And then Yado, Ego need a lot of synergy, for mid jungle being one of the most important things in the game for years now. And they haven't played a single stage game together. Maybe they did.
They
one.
Would have played.
Three total.
Yeah, but it was horrible, so let's not count that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not fair to judge Ego on.
At my last point, Ego.
And they didn't.
Ego's best meta, if you think back, is Lilia. Lilia was his premier champion, and then he was also very good on, I believe, Nidalee and Trundle. So very different champs than right now are in the meta. We are very AD assassin focused, or maybe AD focused. So I'm not really sure how well Ego is going to do. 2.5k solo queue games sound impressive, but I mean, we've seen that before. Not all solo queue stars can transition over or back, because he's already a champion of the VCS, right? So
Yeah.
I expect them to be very solid. I expect them to beat lower teams comfortably, but I think they're missing for me the synergy and the certain magical element
That
to be
je
done
ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of SGB, that's who you have ranked number 1, Yulwei. The SGB, the Saigon Buffalo, the misfits of the league, Husmed, BJ, Froggy, Ariety, 𝘁𝗏𝗏. A team of rookies no more. Yulwei, you have them winning the split. Regular split, not necessarily playoffs. Tell us why.
So, first of all, I love this team. I think they are insanely exciting. They have the most exciting jungler, the most exciting support player, especially support player. They have no real weaknesses in terms of just player strength. I think Ariety is probably the weakest player on the team, but he was still very solid, and he was also willing to experiment. I think back to the Darius bot lane. The whole team has been willing to experiment a lot. They played the long-range poke composition against Cerberus with the Vel'Koz. And then we also... We have insane champion pools, okay? We have Froggy, he plays everything. We have 𝗀kie, he's the best super young solo queue mechanical support. He probably plays everything too. You have to for solo queue support players most of the time. He probably is very familiar with enchanters as well, because you can climb easily in higher elo. And then BeanJ, I'm convinced he's going to be great in the jungle in the new meta. But my biggest point, actually, why I put them over 𝗀 is because I am not sure how well 𝗀cie is going to do. And I love 𝗀cie. He's my favorite player in the league. He has always been my number one MVP player.
That is a big call from you.
Yeah, but 𝗀cie has been ill for a pretty long time as far as we know. And that concerns me greatly. So I think if 𝗀𝗧𝗏 is suddenly the best top lane, and he was close already in spring, then I believe SGB is just over the course of the whole 14 best of threes is going to edge out 𝗀 slightly.
Fair enough. Well, we have covered now the top three from most of us. Now, Clockwork, you actually disagreed for the third slot in that you actually put SBTC in there. So let's have a look at the super big time chicken as we move down.
I think I can guess it, but I think I can guess his reasoning.
Well,
maybe.
No. Well, let's have a look. We do have Hero in the top lane. Penguin, who was formerly DK, it's not a new player. Artifact, Celebrity, and CBL, making up the ranks of the most infamous team in the VCS, hoping to redeem themselves. And Clockwork, you've got them as the third best team in the league. You need to tell us why.
Okay, so it might have to do that two former secret players.
There it is.
Yeah. It might have to do with that. There's a bit of bias by me in that way. I just want Artifact to bring the pancake to the league and show, and I don't know, this is much more for the upset. Like I'm predicting them as dark horse more than like a factual certainty that they will play better. On top of that, because like I have no information on Hero and Penguin, which are playing in the two most important roles in the patch at the moment, so it can also turn out to be a tragedy.
Exactly, Clockwork. I wanted to ask you, did you consider the meta?
They're gonna love Graves, so let me tell you.
I mean, they're gonna love
They're
Graves.
literally gonna park Hero on Graves and just forget the top lane exists. Or Cannon. Just, just see you in 25 minutes, just press R, maybe flash in if you feel like it. And that's it.
I mean, Predator Vlad is OP, so...
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, like, Predator Vlad, it's mostly in the mid lane, which obviously doesn't help Hero, but you can do it in the top lane as well. He's a Vlad one trick. If people forget to ban it, maybe he comes back. Maybe he pops off. And of course, they do have these two rookies that we don't really know much about. They do, don't they? Their bot lane is rookies. Am I lying?
No. It's Celebrity.
What
and
am I
CBL.
talking about? What am I talking about? I'm thinking of Flash. Leave me alone. It's been a long time. They do have the bot lane. CBL and Celebrity. That's a mean bot lane.
Yeah.
The bot lane is looking great. I think Artifact Celebrity CBL is always going to be a play of 𝗀𝗏𝗏 bot side. But TH, have we forgotten about TH here? Hello?
He's back to Hero now. Just
Oh,
wanted
he's
to
I
say.
wish I had forgot about TH.
No, he's back to
Hero O2.
He's Hero O2.
Oh, come on. Dude,
This is better.
Settle on the name.
This
It's
is
an
better.
improvement. It's
I
an
prefer
improvement.
Hero.
I mean, Hero is a much better name for sure, but please stop changing names.
The thing is, though, he can just pick Graves and just play Weed Whacker, right? He just minion wave walk up, he kill it. He does that for half an hour, and then the team kills the Nexus. That is a viable play style, like EDG One World's doing it. So why can't Hero win the VCS, right? It's
Vietnamese answer to
it's a thing.
Flandre.
It's a thing.
We do not stream that final if Hero is going to win the VCS. I'm going to change the stream key just in time. That cannot be aired on this channel.
Dig up the old VODs
So,
where
the
you
rest-
ever loving the hell out of you, right?
The rest of us do have SBTC coming forth, which I think is a fair. I think fourth is reasonable. Clockwork, you've obviously gone a little bit spicy
Edgy.
by putting them up to third, which I don't think is necessarily insane, but it's certainly a call.
I'll be honest. I thought this was including playoffs, so that's why I put Cerberus so low.
Fair enough. Regardless, I think there is a pretty clear two tiers. Because I think we all have the same 4 teams, not in the same order, but we have the same 4 teams in the top half and the same 4 teams in the bottom half. We aren't actually 100% sure. Again, I see people in chat. Spoods was having a meme. Ignore Spoods. Ignore that column. Having a meme. We have a situation where, we have that top 4 that we think is going to make playoffs. As far as we know, it is top 4 make playoffs. We're not actually 100% sure because it hasn't been communicated, but we're 90% sure. So then we have our bottom tier. And we actually all have slightly different opinions, but the most common one I'm seeing as 5th is luxury. So let's have a talk about the lads in purple. I'm going to let you talk about the Marby. It is coded Killer Queen, Blazers, Shine, and High. What do you think about the lads?
So they've really just uplifted their main weaknesses. They've gone from Chemkin to Coded. That's huge. They've gone from Shine and 𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗀 to Vit and H3/High, which is not as big, but it's still it's still a good jump, and it's going to be enough, I think, to really cement them ahead of the likes of BTS and Team Secret in particular. Flash, we will get
Vit
to.
is your ADC upgrade, something has gone wrong for you.
That was never terrible. He was never the worst ADC, I don't think.
Yeah,
But
right.
he
Existed.
But yeah, no.
Look,
but
the
yeah,
fact
he's
that this
gonna-
team is 5th.
But yeah, it's a jump up. It's they had an okay foundation in mid jungle, and they've just lifted the side lanes up, and yeah, it's going to be enough to secure them as the rest of the competition has dropped. Is the main thing.
For sure. Clockwork, do you have any extra thoughts on luxury?
Absolutely, yes, and that is that Soren has dropped off the roster. So that means Killer Queen gets to start all the games, which is fantastic. So we can't call him a rookie again. We can give him enough stage time, and he can and should be the star of this team. And I want to see exactly that. So finally, we get a full split of Killer Queen, and I was just waiting for that.
It's true. That's actually really exciting. I think every time they played Sorn, it was a mistake. I think Killer Queen was pretty clearly better, but I know you have a bit of a different opinion on that, Yulwei. Do you think dropping Sorn was the right call? What do you think of this GLX, well, not GLX anymore, sorry, just luxury roster?
I mean, to be honest, dropping Son was the only thing you could do with him after that horrible last split. He was my favorite player when I started following the VCS, then sadly he dropped off completely, so I'm very sad that he's not with us anymore, but in terms of just talking and thinking about this luxury roster, I can see the points, especially Marby's points about the side lanes. Coded, I've always been pretty happy about and high on. I think their bot lane is pretty bad, honestly, regardless of if they play Shine or Vit. Those are the 2 worst ADCs, so Vit is better than Shine, but he's still bad. So I think their bot lane is an issue. I think Coded is a win condition. And Killer Queen Blazers, maybe I underestimated them a little bit. I am not quite as high in Killer Queen. I think 𝗀𝗃𝗃 is the better of the 2 junglers. That's also why I decided to go BTS over luxury. But maybe Killer Queen proves me wrong. They could be the 5th best team. They could even make a run for players, honestly. If one of the better teams, especially SBTC, doesn't quite come together, you have Code against Hero. That's a huge win condition on your side. You also have Killer Queen if he has a run of form against Penguin. Should be a good matchup for you as well. So their top side looks strong. I think their bottom side is really bad, and I am ADC biased, so maybe I ranked them a little bit too low, but
I think the
let's
big
see.
thing that brought them above BTS for me was we saw 𝘀𝗀𝗏 with the old bot lane, but with Coated, manhandle pretty much the same the BTS roster. They didn't have 𝗀𝗏, they had a rookie, so the ADC position will be better for BTS now, but the top side was completely handled, and Coated hard won that series almost by himself, so that's what's done it for me. Plus, with the meta being away from AD carries, put that on Jhin.
Yeah.
Clockwork, I see
Also,
you
like-
really want to jump in.
Exactly. I'm not going to defend Shine, but I'm just going to say that Ziggs
better not.
exists.
Ziggs,
It's just the graves of the bot lane. You just park there and wave clear and forget that the lane exists and play Twisted Tree line.
All right.
I don't want to see Shine on Ziggs. Ziggs is harder than he gets credit for.
Yeah.
I do think this GLX roster is going to be rough. I sort of put them 5th as they were sort of my last team remaining. After I sort of thought about the other 3, I was just kind of like, oh, I need to put 𝘀𝗀𝗏 somewhere. I definitely think they could swap with BTS, who we are going to move on to talk about now. Yulwei, you had this team ranked 5th, the team of Ryuk, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, Glory, 𝗀𝗏, formerly Police, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏. You have them ranked as 5th. What do you think about this team?
So they have a lot of players I like personally. Maybe I'm biased towards them, but I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has steadily improved, has gotten better and better over the time. When he started, he was pretty bad. Now he was very decent the last time we saw him. So I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏 could really thrive in this jungle meta. He could be the main carry of the team, a little bit like Levi for 𝗀𝗏. They could be maybe a little bit of a mini 𝗀𝗏 in some... I mean, Glory is a different player than 𝗏𝗏𝗏, but Glory has always been...
I'd say closer to Cerberus, honestly.
But in terms of being very jungle-driven from 𝗏𝗏𝗏, I think Ryuk, the times we've seen him, he was okay. He wasn't standout, but he actually played some decent laning phases, even against the better top laner. So I think it's a stable top lane. That's nice. We have a strong jungle carry and a very, very strong jungle meta right now. Glory hopefully gets back to former glory and can show us a lot of good performances. And then 𝗀𝗏 and 𝗀𝗏𝗏. I think 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is a really good support. I've always been really impressed by 𝗀𝗏𝗏. And 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is Police. And I was a huge Police fanboy in the FTV days. So I'm just hoping, that's a little bit of hopium coming in from me. I'm just hoping
was
for
a
Police
ridiculously
to come back.
good Lucian player as well.
Yes, exactly.
He was a sick Lucian player.
This is Lucian army time for 𝗀𝗏𝗏 and 𝗀𝗏𝗏. 𝗀𝗏𝗏 has been a really good enchanter play, if I remember correctly,
𝗀𝗏𝗏's
too.
Bard was his...
Yeah,
back when he
his
was
Bard
least
was
rank,
sick.
he could only play Bard. He improved greatly since then, but yeah, when he first came in, he could only play Bard. Really.
Yeah, so I really think this bot lane looks super strong, and their jungle looks very good, which makes for decent win conditions. Their top lane should be stable. Their mid lane is a big question mark. I am biased towards them, I'm going to admit that, but I hope for a good performance, especially from bot lane. And 𝗀𝗏𝗏, yeah, I'm a big 𝗀𝗏𝗏 fanboy. I think 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is great and should challenge for number 2, number 3 support position.
I'm going to be honest, I think in general, if I bring the standings back up, for me, I have them ranked 7th. Honestly, they could be 5th. I really think 𝘀𝗀𝗏𝗏, Team Secret, and BTS are very, very close. We'll talk about Flash later. Even though Clockwork, you actually have Flash beating BTS. We're going to have to talk about that when we get to Flash. We'll come back to that one. But yeah, these 3 teams are super close, and we do have one more to talk about. And
oh, wait. I actually want to hear why Clockwork is so low on BTS, because I'm the highest on 5th place, and he's the lowest on 8th place. Why?
I'll be honest, I'm surprised myself. Probably I did this ranking like a few weeks ago, and I disagree with myself from the past.
Okay.
I'll throw that out. I think if I have to discuss it honestly...
We did do these rankings a while ago.
Yeah. Because like BTS did what Misfits did last split in LEC. So they played their off-season just by not doing anything. And they by doing that, they did better than Flash and Secret, for example, who downgraded massively. And we're gonna talk about them next. But yeah, basically BTS just has to bank on the experience that they built through spring and just do what they did just a bit better, and they should be safe at 6th.
Now, Clockwork, it's time to talk about your favorite team. It is going to be Team Secret, the last of this second tier in the VCS. Nagia, DNK, Parquet, Eddie, and Phi1 have formed up. They're wearing the Secret jerseys. It's a very different look. Clockwork, will you be wearing the Dum Dum hat, or will you be in the winner's circle for Team Secret this time?
I think this time is I'm just gonna step away from the kitchen, no pancakes for a while, because this is a roster that left me very perplexed. I assume that that Secret decided not to put much value in this winter split, and maybe just wait for a spring split for 2022, because this roster does not look like a team that is built to win. Okay? It is probably harsh, but there are no really star players as in their previous iterations. And yeah, Nagia, DNK, they're good players. Nagia especially, Nagia especially, he played last split and showed quite a few good things. Of course, not in top echelon for his role. DNK, I'm just scared that he will not be as impactful as a jungler should be, because he showed that he's not the first one to go in, and with this meta of Xin Zhao and Talon and champions like this, he's probably not going to be very comfortable. So I don't know. I'm very skeptic about this roster.
Mabi, what are your thoughts on the boys in black and white?
Yes, so I set them where they were before they announced Zhuhao. Zhuhao being there might lift them up a bit, but my main thing was, I think with Parquet DNK, you have easily the worst mid jungle of all the known ones. Of course, Dante Harvey could be absolutely dog shit, but
that is harsh to DNK. Holy moly!
I thought it was harsh, but thank you, Mabi, for topping that up.
Well, it's not so... Like, you said worst mid-jungle, right?
Yeah.
It's not the jungle half that I'm worried about.
That's kind of it. Parquet is the obvious weaker part of the duo, but DNK, I think, needs the right sort of team to thrive, and with Team Secret being absolutely not that team right now, he's going to just bomb out really hard. And so, if you compare the two junglers, Zhuhao much more consistent, but does not hit the same highs as DNK, but DNK will crash and burn a lot harder than Zhuhao ever will. When you're looking at your best player is Eddie, who, yeah, he's your rookie AD carry. Well,
it's good on Jim.
Semi-rookie.
Yeah,
this man has been denied his opportunity to get a Rookie of the Split award, but yeah, so it's just you don't have the strongest solo. You don't have really strong solo laners. You don't have a really standout jungler. You don't have anyone who stands out, and I don't think you have players even at the high enough level that the team play can come together and make them like a Mad Lions, where that none of them are really the best in their role, but they're all up a tier, and their teamwork just carries them to the best team.
Better than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
So, if I can jump in and do a little bit of analysis, even though I am, of course, but a lowly play-by-play, what we're talking about with DNK is something that I observed constantly watching him play. And
you are the number one DNK hater.
I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater, because I think he actually has a really well-defined role, and when he plays that role, he's very good. Maybe top 4 junglers in the league, which for the VCS is actually a pretty high praise. We have good junglers. But it's the second man in. You watch him, he plays something like 𝗚lice, and you might be saying, well, Carix, what do you mean? 𝗚lice is a very aggressive jungler. She loves to go in. Yeah, but she doesn't go in first. You play that Renekton 𝗚lice, Renekton goes in, stuns, she follows up, easy.
Yeah.
That's where DNK shines. He played the Elise multiple times and looked really good. But you put him... Sorry, Marby, just let me steamroll through. I will let you in, I promise. You put him on like a 𝗀𝗻 or a Xin Zhao, where you have to have that trigger in your brain to know when to go. I don't have faith in DNK for that.
Yeah,
that's where I don't trust him. Go ahead.
I just want to say, if you look at Spring, the successful secret comp was Camille, Nocturne, Twisted Fates. Basically, Nocturne and one of those two solo laners, where one of the solo laners would set up a pick, Nocturne would jump on it. Cool, yeah, he's never calling go. He's being told to
exactly.
To go. And then when he was on Hecarim, he just wandered around and did nothing.
I don't think he has, and prove me wrong, DNK. Seriously, I'd love to be wrong. Prove me wrong. I don't think he has the game sense or the killer instinct, I don't know what word I want to use, to be the one that will take the risk. Because it's scary. Like, you're a professional player. One team fight can lose you a game and potentially lose you a split, depending on the situation. It's scary to be the one to play go, and I think he shies away from it. I might be being too harsh. Yulwei, do you want to disagree with me or tell me to shut up and go back to yelling?
Generally, that's a very good point, and I think we all know the tendencies of DNK's gameplay. I think we do have to acknowledge, though, that we are still a very, very good player.
Yeah.
Mechanically, also pathing-wise, being able to steal all the objectives and dictate games, which is possible with current jungle champions that don't actually have to completely commit to an engage as well, right? You can play Talon and constantly look for flanks and isolate targets. You can go Qiyana. Well, she does play a little bit of an initiation role, but she can also kind of bait the enemy into thinking she's going to initiate. So I think that could be a champion, even though I don't remember DNK playing Qiyana when she was meta 2 years ago.
But it's been a long time.
But my main point with Team Secret is I don't think they're great. I predict them to be 6th place, but I do think they have a higher ceiling than some of the other teams around them, because if DNK or even Zhuhao clicks with maybe Parker has a better split, or maybe even Jerry comes in and looks better than we expect.
Maybe
I think they do have a very solid carry lineup. Eddie looked very good mechanically. Nagia looked okay-ish.
Nagia's more
and then DNK.
player.
Yeah, I think DNK Eddie could actually lead them to 5th place, maybe even 4th place if someone else collapses.
Yeah.
But I predict them to, I think on average, you should probably expect them to be lower tier. But I do think there is a ceiling somewhere to be unlocked. Maybe not in winter. Maybe it's more looking to spring, and maybe with 1 or 2 roster adjustments. But yeah, I think there is a foundation in this team that can be played around.
I don't want to stay on Team Secret for too much longer because we are just kind of ragging on them. But the elephant in the room that we haven't really discussed is
someone else to rag on.
I think we all agree that Parquet might be the worst mid laner in the league. He was dreadful last split. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He was really bad. He has been decent in the past, but not recently. It's a bit of a distant memory. Yulwei has always been super down on Parquet and has been sort of rewarded in that analysis. So, yeah, it's rough. But let's move on to who we all have, except for you, Clockwork, but all sane people have right down the bottom. The team that we thought would establish a dynasty. A team that should have gone to an MSI. Should have gone to a World. In groups, mind you. Not even in play-ins. Team Flash. It didn't happen. There is a mistake on this graphic, which we'll have to correct. But Yoshino, Dante, Stark is not the mid laner. 𝗀cie𝗱𝗋𝗀𝗀. I think it's Dante in mid? Correct? That's DQH?
Dante's jungle.
Dante is jungle, of course. Yeah,
𝗀𝗂 is.
𝗀𝗂
DQH is now 𝗀𝗂.
Yeah, DQH has been moved into the main role. Stark has moved to head coach. This graphic is a bit old. So it is 𝗀𝗂, who was DQH, in the mid lane. Who wants to start on Flash?
You mean what players want to start on Flash? Because I think no one.
Let's start with the positives.
Ay.
Let's start with the positives.
Clip that.
𝗀cie looked very good in whenever he's been in VCSB promo. He's never been on a winning team, but he's looked good. Yoshino, in theory, is one of the better ones. Paulette didn't have a great split, but maybe he could get back to form. The other two are relative unknowns. Harvey is a complete unknown. But I don't think player skill is necessarily the big thing here.
There is some added context. So some of you who might be viewing the stream may not be as active in the VCS English Discord. If you're not, you should get in there. It's a fun place. But Team Flash's captain, Yoshino, is quite active. He speaks pretty good English. Good on him. He is fairly active, and the way I described it is his mental is about as good as a nun watching kids sing along to Montero, because it's doomed. It's real doomed, based on what he's been saying. We do not have high hopes for this team, and you may be saying, oh, well, you guys are kind of writing rookies off and stuff. Yeah, well, when the captain says that they're coming 8th, I think we believe him. Yulwei, what's your read on the former bright lights of the VCS?
Well, if this were the first split where they ran this kind of roster with highlights and top and support role, you might be willing to cut them some slack and say, well, they do have Yoshino and Paulette, historically two of the very, very top players of the league. Maybe they can make it work, but we already saw this last split, and they did not make it work. Paulette looked pretty bad. Yoshino had some highs, but generally looked worse than we expected. And the rest of the team was dreadful, and now the rest of the team is completely unknown. So, I mean, 3 rookies, there's always potential for them to randomly pop up and be amazing. Dante might be the next BJ, and maybe we finally have a good mid laner, but odds are that's not going to be the case. We've heard so many bad things from Yoshino, so I think you would be foolish to not rank them 8th. Remember, we ranked SGB 8th place last split at the start, so maybe that's a good omen for Flash.
I maintain that we weren't wrong to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
There were just so many questions.
The same is true for Flash as well. The same is true for Flash now as well. They have a lot of question marks, and maybe something clicks, maybe they're gel, and the rookies are amazing or good enough to make Yoshino and Paulette shine, and suddenly Yoshino on the top focused meta carries the whole team to, who knows, semifinal or something. So it is possible, whenever you have a lot of rookies, the potential, the ceiling could be high. But it would be foolish to predict that. So I think we are definitely right to put them 8th place. And yeah, I mean, Yoshino in the Discord. Maybe he's trolling. Who knows?
Maybe.
Let's hope for him he's trolling.
I hope he's trolling, honestly.
I hope so. But it would be a very dedicated bit. Clockwork, go ahead.
My advice to this split, to this team, would be just, cover the scoreboard. Okay, pretend that there are no wins, there are no losses. Stark and Yoshino and Paulette. Just teach the rookies. Hope they improve.
Yeah.
Play, I don't know if there's going to be some relegation tournament between winter and spring. And just, focus on improving your rookies. That is it. That's your objective.
You know the repeat quote for this? Whenever
did you win or did you improve?
Yeah. Did you win or did you improve? Today we improved a lot. That's going to be Flash's motto this year.
Yeah, let's hope that Stark is more a Reaper style coach rather than a Coma style, because I don't want to see that much belt work. Yeah, look, it's going to be rough for Flash. As Yulwei said, we kind of have to rank them 8th, because everything we hear from Yoshino is very negative, and there's so many question marks that it's not just it's not good analysis to put them anywhere else, even if we might want them to finish higher, because personally I like Flash as an org. I think it's so sad that they got scammed out of 2020 due to COVID, because they were incredible. But yeah,
I like Yoshino.
Yoshino's fun. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Really cool guy. I really like Yoshino, but yeah, you just can't.
Some say you even want to play by play with Flash Yoshino.
Let it die!
It's never dying. I'm sorry. It's the best content we've ever done.
I will never.
That made history. It's just deal with it. It's historical.
So we've all kind of we've gone through every team. We've set up what we think about them. We've done our loose power ranking. I will bring our power rankings back up briefly just to see how we rank them. Once again, ignore Spoods, little troll, naughty little Spood. But we want to move on to some really standout individuals, and I want to go through. I don't want to go team by team because I don't want to force you to think of someone. I just want to go through each of you and just name one or two players, hopefully pick someone different, fellas, that you are just so keen to watch. Because we haven't seen VCS in so long. It's been like 7 months since we've had any VCS, and I miss some of the players. Clockwork, who do you miss the most? Who can't you wait to see?
Of course, I mentioned it earlier. I will mention him again. It's 𝗀𝗀𝗃. Because the meta is primed on junglers, so he has all the tools to shine. He even has an AD carry named like that on his team. So
it's not that great of a tool to shine, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, you do shine if your teammates look worse than you. So
that is actually true.
That's what happened in Spring Split already. But I want to see him not just shine compared to his teammate, but compares to other junglers in his role. And I think this is his split. I really want to see how he performs with all these playmaking junglers like Jarvan, like Qiyana, like there's a bunch of interesting junglers. Xin Zhao also. So yeah, Lee Sin, of course, incredibly the perfect jungler to show that you have skill and you can make that win. So yeah, give me the Killer Queen.
Mabi, you're up next.
Alright, so this may seem like a cop-out, but it is actually Levi. For one main reason. He said he really wants to go overseas next year. So I'm hoping he uses this opportunity to just put on a clinic and show us, holy shit, this is 2017 Levi, this is 2019 Levi, this is the god of VCS. Go away, 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀. You aren't the best Vietnamese player. I am. I'm hoping he really grabs onto this opportunity to show off and say to international audiences, hey, pay me.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. I think that's really exciting. It's also a great meta for him. Qiyana's back. Lee Sin is cracked.
Oh, it's gonna be
Lilia
so good.
is playable.
No one's not gonna be excited for Levi to play. We are VCS fans. Everyone is excited.
Why specifically this split. Like generally, I'm like, oh, if I'm looking for a player to pick, I will ignore Levi because it's Levi. It's the cop-out answer. But this split specifically, I think he has the goal to just be the best by a mile. That should be his goal, to really put on the clinic, and that's what's getting me hyped.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're Levi, you don't want anyone to be close. You don't want a split like last split where you were like, yeah, Levi was the best jungler, but damn, BJ was close, right? BJ was close. Levi edged him out, but he was close. You don't want that. If you're Levi, you want to come in and be like, I just caved in 7 junglers' skulls. I've got 7 scalps in my hand. CLG, when are you signing me?
Please not. Anyone. Actually, anyone but... And we'll keep TSM out of that as well, but...
Golden Guardians, Levi.
I would prefer that to CLG.
Jokes aside. Yulwei, remember, you are allowed to say more than one. Who are you looking forward to this split?
I want to hear yours afterwards as well.
Of course, I've got one in mind.
For me.
I have a specific player in mind. If you need a time to think, I've got one in mind.
No. I've landed on a player. I have to say, though, first that I'm excited for every single player on SGB. So it was kind of hard for me to pick, but I want to.
It's gonna be 𝘀𝗃𝗃.
I want to be 𝘀𝗃𝗃. Yeah, I want to take 𝘀𝗃𝗃, and I mean, I'm generally a very, very, very scrutinizing of support players. I think they get too much praise. They get off the hook too easily, especially mechanically, on big broadcasts. They do one dumb engage on Leona and suddenly they're the best player in the world. I think most support players are much worse than the rest of their rosters, of the rest of their peers. But 𝘀𝗃𝗃 is different. 𝘀𝗃𝗃 is amazing. He is not only the shot caller, he's 17, maybe 18 now, so he's super young. He has amazing mechanics, a great champion pool. And in my opinion, he was the best player alongside 𝗀𝗃 in the spring split. So I'm really excited to see him in a different meta, to see what he can do after being with his team for a longer time. And in my opinion, there was an article about 𝗃 and how he was the best player on SGB, I think from Panda. And I have to disagree. I love 𝗃. I think he's a great player, but I think 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is even more mature. He's much more of a leader, and I think he is one of the main reasons why SGB is going to win this split.
Well, I was going to talk about 𝗀𝗏𝗏, but you did steal it away. But I do have a second pick, and it might seem a little bit biased, but I'm also going to talk about an SGB player. 𝗏𝗏𝗏. I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏's flying under the radar, because 𝗃 the best player on SGB? I can see the argument. 𝗀𝗏𝗏 the best player on SGB? I'd almost agree with you, if it wasn't for 𝗏𝗏𝗏. He is older. He's not the rookie, ridiculous talent
Ribbit.
that 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is. Froggy's also ridiculous.
Ribbit.
We know, but look, we have talked at length about
Froggy
Froggy.
is the best player in VCS. I have to just... Rebel's not here, so I have to rep for him.
Well, we talked about 𝗀𝗏𝗏 earlier, but I really do want to talk about 𝗏𝗏𝗏. You mentioned it briefly earlier. Yulwei, 𝘁cie has been really sick, and we don't want to relish in his pain or anything horrible like that. We're not ghouls. But he has been sick. He is potentially coming in with less practice than he might normally have. And I'm a huge 𝗁cie lover as well. Me and Yulwei kind of made our names as the 𝗁cie lovers. But I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is back. He was incredible last split. And I think the meta right now is really good for him. It's topside focused. I don't want to see him on Graves. But 𝗀𝗏, he has that killer instinct to go in on the big ults. He can play his jacks. He can play all of these carry picks. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is simply incredible. I think SGB seriously formed up. I think I ranked them second. Let me just check. I actually ranked them third because I put it's Cerberus regular split. I think the final will be GARM SGB again, but Cerberus regular split. 𝗏𝗏𝗏's incredible, and I think he is a capstone to a piece to a team where they don't have a bad player. They really don't. We could honestly, I think you could make an argument for 4 out of 5 players being the best player on SGB. You probably couldn't make the argument for Ariety because he's got 𝗀𝗏𝗏 next to him.
He's also
But Ariety is
Artemis in the role.
Well, no, I'm talking about on the team. Yeah, Artemis is obviously the best ADC in the VCS. It's hard to argue with that. But yeah, it's. I'm really excited to see what this top laner can do.
Think about the meta right now and his best champions historically. His 𝗀𝗏𝗏. We have so many highlight clips. 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is amazing right now. He was an ADC player, even though he never played a professional game. He was, for a long time, an ADC main. He played Tristana and Vayne on stage already. 𝗀𝗏𝗏, add that to the pool. Think about Graves top lane. He should be great on that too. So it should be his meta, even more so than 𝗁𝗏𝗏's, even if 𝗁𝗏𝗏 is in top form. So this could really be the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 show once again.
For sure. And we have been talking for a while now, so we want to begin to wind down with a little game that we often play, and so does every League podcast in the world. 10%, 50%, 90%. Something that has 10% chance of happening, something that has 50% chance of happening, and something that has 90% chance of happening. Has everyone come up with something? I'm seeing nods.
Not really.
Okay, well, I'll come to you. Okay. I mean, I did tell you guys before we went live, so you've had at least an hour.
Okay, I'm ready. Go.
Okay, well, I'm happy to start, because I did mine at the start. My 10% is Flash is actually decent, as in they come top 4. I think that has a 10% chance of happening with their rookies. I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not much to talk about on that one. Clockwork, what's your 10%?
10% is SBTC makes playoffs.
And
that's only 10% for you.
That's
right.
Sorry. No, did I put them third, right? Above Cerberus. Yeah. That's okay. SBTC makes third.
Okay, they come third, 10%. Okay.
Right.
That's harsh. That's really harsh. Yulwei, do you have your 10%? Or Marby, if you want to jump in.
I would say it's probably 10%. I don't know.
10 is hard.
Colorcasters, hey?
Yeah, the thing is, the 10% you have to sort of round away from an
Oh, I have one.
For fun.
So
Okay,
a
go ahead,
10% parquet is decent again.
So harsh, but yeah.
10%.
That's probably about right.
10% is Team Secret can break into playoffs
Okay.
at the expense of SBTC.
I can see that.
Okay.
That's good.
So
do the
I
fifth-
thought that I was mistaking 10% for 1%, but you kind of outplayed me on that front.
So let's go to the 50%. Things we think have even odds. I think SBTC being much, much better than they were last split is a 50-50 shot. Like, I think last split, they came 5th, almost made 4th. I think there's a 50% shot that they are clearly 4th best, or perhaps even 3rd.
I have a good one.
Go ahead.
50% chance pause is a flop.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, that's...
I think it's pretty much 50-50.
That's a
fair.
good call, That's a really good one. Yeah. Yeah, I really agree. Marby, do you have your 50?
I could almost just say something similar about the about someone on SGB. Like, we could say Bingjay. Oh, he was just a one split wonder. We've seen that happen so many times. You could say 50% chance Bingjay flops.
It's harsh. Very harsh. And
Hey,
Clockwork.
it's high. Okay.
Ooh.
I might have been better as a 10, but I think that's more likely than the Team Secret one, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, fair enough. Clockwork, what's your 50?
50% is GAM goes undefeated.
50. Oi, oi, oi.
Clockwork coming in with the spicy takes. A 50% chance for an undefeated split.
Zero maps
I can
drop.
see it. I can see it.
We need to mark that one down, because that's a bold call
Wait,
for a 50%.
sorry, undefeated games or series?
Series, right?
Let's say series, which is
Okay.
zero
Games
maps.
is
Games
ridiculous.
is like,
Games would
Games
be
is ridiculous.
insane.
that would be like, not 50%. Yeah, let's go with series, which is
All right.
14 and 0.
So 90%, I have mine. And guys, it's going to be a hot take for my 90%. Cerberus has a really strong regular split and then loses in playoffs.
Okay, that's not 90, that's 100. Come on.
EDG broke the curse, so can Cerberus.
I'm not convinced. It's
So,
the, it's
as a
the,
WE fan, I hate that Mabi is taking the chance to praise EDG.
Look, I have
Look,
hated
EDG.
I didn't like EDG for years, but then they added Flandre, so I was morally obliged.
I respect Flavio.
I have been stuck in Stake Prison for so long. Let me have this.
well, as a recent releasee of Stake Prison, what's your 90% mark?
GAM SGP are your finalists.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go. 10% is Cerberus fixes their shit.
yeah, fair enough. Clockwork, 90%.
90% Secret makes relegation.
Brutal.
It's a nice way of putting it. Okay.
I'm basically annihilating my expectations, so I might not be disappointed. Keyword might.
You're playing both sides, so you always come out on
Yes.
Fuck, we're gonna cosplay Dewey at the end of the split.
top.
That
And
happens, I'll
Yulwei.
have you over for some delicious pancakes.
Yeah, like that would be like the Socrates pancake, the last thing you eat.
I still can't believe you made a pancake with rotten ingredients, even though we didn't tell you to. We just told you to make a pancake, and you were like, yes, they mean use off milk. We
He
did.
always goes the extra mile.
He
You
really
cannot
does.
Take that away from him. Yeah.
It's true. That should be one of our Patreon tiers. Like, I don't know, if you do $50 a month, you get to tell Clockwork to do something once a month, because he will. That's not a binding statement. Yulwei, what's your 90%?
Can I go meta?
Of course.
Sure.
90%, there's a tech issue on day one.
Yep. I mean, that's 100%. Come on. They're back in the stadium for the first time in like a year.
I do not say.
Will it be bad enough that we have to come back from a pause screen and play a stupid game because it's been paused too long?
Get your saps ready. Get your saps ready.
Saps in the chat, as always. Maokai will no doubt make a return, as he always does here on VCS English, because tech issues are just part of the fun, really. It's not the VCS without some tech issues. But
true.
that is sort of everything we had planned to talk about for this first episode of Good Morning Vietnam. We had to change the name because I decided to change my name and the old one didn't work. So we really hope you enjoyed.
Look at this background. It's amazing. Thank you, Peng.
Credit
It looks
to
so good.
Pengaro in our Discord. He might be in chat, I'm not sure. If you are, thank you, fella. Thank you, man. We always appreciate what you do. Our podcast graphics are always looking fire. Yeah, there he is in chat. Thanks, mate. But yeah, that does bring us to the end. VCS Winter starts on Tuesday. It is 2 days away. We cannot wait to bring it to you. It is going to be a 6-day-a-week schedule, this split, which is a little bit brutal for our little volunteer outfit. We have picked up a few new names, which I'm sure you will see soon.
I'm excited.
Promoted a few people to more active roles, that kind of thing. There's lots and lots going on. If you do want to support us, there is a Patreon link below the stream. It's really appreciated because, as I said, we are completely volunteer. We are not official. We would love to be, but we're not. So helping us pay rent is great when we're doing 6 days a week. Or just donating to the stream. Even just watching helps us as well. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. I'm really, really happy. I hope everyone's looking forward to the return of the VCS. And from all of us here at VCS English, good night.